Hello everyone, welcome to another wonderful Hot Takes. I am the con to Jack's pro.
That's right.
We're doing it.
Things and stuff. I'm being Brad today.
Exactly. Jack is filling in for our wonderful Brad Chester today. Don't worry, Brad will be back soon. But for today, it's Jack and I debating all of your hottest questions. So, thank you everyone as always for tuning in and supporting us. If you're wondering where we get these questions from, we get them from the Art of War Discord. So if you're not a member of the Discord, make sure to sign up either for the War Room on our website, theartofwar40k.com, or right here on the YouTube channel. If you just give us that like, share, subscribe, all of the good keywords. And if you're a member of the channel, you can get in the Art of War Discord where we draw these questions from. Of course, we do also draw them from the chat live, so hit us up with those super chats. All right, Mr. Jack, let's dive right on into it.
All right, let's jump in.
So, question number 1. The new engagement rules. We're talking specifically about the engagement rules through the ruin walls 2 inches away. Just, what do you think?
I thought it was a bit of an awkward way to try and solve the problem. The problem was, just so everyone knows, you could stand kind of like 0.9 inches away from a wall, and on the inside, you line the edge of the ruin. Your opponent can't charge you because their base doesn't fit inside that gap. And they also can't get within an inch of you on the other side of the wall. So they just couldn't charge you. Yep. And that was something like basically everyone realized is not really how the game should work. Different fixes, or just not even trying to fix the problem, ensued. WTC basically just said, hey, listen, you know that thing that happens? That doesn't happen. You just are considered to be engaged, which I think is the best way to fix it.
Yeah.
The 2-inch engagement it doesn't even fully solve the problem because you can still kind of do it.
Totally can.
Yeah. And B, just causes a lot of downstream effects where, like, things that key off engagement range now suddenly are kind of absurd in terrain. Like, Angel Sacrifice keys off engagement range. So if I'm in a ruin, guess what? Now everyone's fighting me. So it has a lot of downstream effects and doesn't even really solve the problem, which is just... it just seemed a little... It seemed like trying to make a rule to solve the problem rather than just describing the problem and saying, if this occurs, don't do that, do this.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you on that one. It does feel like they approach it in a very wrong way, where it feels like a weird Band-Aid and a weirdly shaped Band-Aid.
Yeah.
That, like, overlaps onto other things that they weren't really thinking about.
Yeah.
And that's always a little bit unfortunate. But it also kind of leaves the problem intact for large models.
Yeah,
like
warriors can't charge through walls.
Yeah, Tyranid warriors, you still can just leave 49 millimeters between you and the wall, and oops, the other side of the wall is more than 2 inches away.
You don't have to stay 0.9, now you just stay 1.9 inches away, and look at that.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. Yeah. So it helps like smaller models. So it helps Space Marines, which, as everyone knows, is the goal here.
Yes.
But I honestly, I'm wondering how long this is going to stick around for. Because sometimes bad rules get just ignored by the community, and then GW fixes them quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it doesn't even... If you have thick walls, it doesn't solve the problem. Because then you can't get within 2 inches, and you can't fit your base on the other side, and you still can't charge them.
Yeah.
Large base models, yeah, it's just not a fix to the problem. It's like, it solves a lot of the time when it happens.
I really wish that they had made it so that the 2-inch engagement rule applies after you make a charge. Not like, and even then, it could be more elegant, it could be better written. But I hate that you can just get within 2 inches and pass the charge. Like, get 1.9 away, because it is essentially a +1 to charge into ruins.
Yeah.
And I wish, if nothing else, that they had removed the +1 to charge into ruins effect. Because, yeah.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even if you deep strike and you get an 8-inch charge now, and I'm +1 to charge, it's a 7-inch charge. It's like, this is terrible.
Yeah, it's one of those rules where it doesn't solve the problem it's supposed to do.
No.
And the effects of the rule on other interactions is actually larger than
the original
problem.
Yeah, I think it will come up more somehow. So we'll see. I'm kind of hoping that this is one where GW changes it. But as to whether or not it's going to be accepted, I think it will be for the time being. Yeah. So the first 2 events that made rulings on it that I saw were ATC and WTC, both team events. So not necessarily examples to be set for the rest of the meta. But both of them said no, we're not using it, just forget it that it even exists. But then the Lone Star Open, a frontline gaming event, is using it this weekend.
Yes.
And that implies that the rest of the frontline events will use it. Yes. And then, okay, you look at the rest of the year, at least in North America, big events are going to either be Frontline or Games Workshop. And we probably don't have to ask if Games Workshop is going to use this rule at their own events.
They're going to use their rule?
I think so.
Yeah.
One might hope.
I think WTC just said, thanks, but we've got this one.
Yep.
We've already handled this problem in a better way, and so we're good. ATC, I think, just kind of said...
Too close?
It's too close.
Yeah. Which
Otherwise, GW, we're a ways away from the time when GW comes out with rules, and the community just kind of goes, do we like this rule or not, and then accepts it. Mm-hmm. We're at the point where GW's done a good enough job with the game to where they come out with a rule, it just is the rule now.
Yes. Yeah, it's like 6th and 7th edition, like the... What was the name of that flyer campaign book?
Death from the Skies, or Death
yeah,
from the
remember
Skies
that campaign book where like the entire community read it was like absolutely not, and just didn't play with it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
They did that with Angels of Death, to be honest.
Oh, 6th to 7th.
Oh, 7th edition. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but that's not even the rule I'd get rid of if I could. I would roll back the CP changes personally.
Oh, fair. All right. So here's a question from our own Matt Robbo.
Ooh.
What B tier or lower faction has the best shot at making it into a team event, and why?
My guess, I'm gonna start.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is something that has really unbalanced matchups, and that's what causes it to be in B tier.
Yeah.
So anything that has really like good matchups but incredibly bad matchups can make it into teams where it dodges the bad matchups and just does well.
Sounds like Team Sons.
Yeah, Team Sons can do it because they are a bit of a liability in teams in that you have to keep them away from anybody with AP3 in combat at all.
Yeah.
But they're very good into particular armies that, like at ATC, we looked at our team comp and did some practice pairings, and we're like, we're weirdly vulnerable to T-Sons.
Yeah, none of us really, like, I kind of wanted that, but we had quite a few members of our team who just didn't want to play into T-Sons.
Like, I would take it with the Blood Angels, but that's kind of it. You can't force them into one pairing.
Yeah, you didn't want to force them into the Tantaloons.
Oh, the Tantalizers.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So B tier or lower faction, I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. Imperial Guard. I think Imperial Guard are actually kind of legit in team formats.
They have the best shot out of B tier?
Well, they're not in B tier.
Sure.
B tier or lower.
Sure, they're the best in their D tier or whatever.
Yeah, they're definitely the best D tier army. So, Guard is ridiculously polarizing as an army.
Yes.
We're going to see this later today in the Worm. But they do shoot legitimately hard. They do pack more indirect and better indirect than anyone else in the game. And everyone and their mother has started playing as if there are no indirect guns left in the game.
There still are. They're just all the way down there in C tier.
All the way down there in C tier. I think Guard could actually be a legit team army.
Yeah.
And so, we were kind of joking about this, where at the tournament, one of the teams that we played around Death or Glory, their Knight player ended up getting tabled 20-0 by Imperial Guard later on in the weekend. And everyone was making fun of him because he got tabled by Imperial Guard. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, Imperial Knights into Imperial Guard.
You just get shot.
If the Imperial Guard go first, which at 50-50, right? I don't even think that. I think they're favored.
Yeah.
Like, and if they have decent terrain, it's not even bad odds that they go second and just whack.
I mean, you can't make fun of somebody for losing to that because
That
there's nothing that he could do.
Oh, yeah.
He can't hide because he's Knights. Mm-hmm. And he can't stop Guard from shooting if they go first. So it's just rolling dice. And at the point where you're just rolling dice, that's on the pairing's fault, honestly.
Lyle Dixon says, with a $5 super chat, thank you so much, by the way, Lyle. The correct answer to this question is 3 Tantaloons. You're disappointed in us. Lyle Dixon, the question was about B tier or lower factions.
That's S tier.
Obviously. They're T tier.
They're Tantaloon tier.
Tantaloon tier.
They're up in Tant tier.
Lyle Dixon says that they played against Brett and their Imperial Guard with Tau at ATC. No one else on my team could have handled that matchup. Yeah, I was thinking about it. I didn't want to play against Guard with my sisters.
Because I mean, into Guard.
I have 3 units of Repentia with a 6-up invulnerable save just hiding behind a wall as their primary defense.
One goes in a Rhino, and the rest outflank.
Just spend all of my pregame CP to just try to hide my Repentia, and then they shoot Retributors. It's like, I didn't really want that either.
Yeah.
Because I don't get +1 save against it, and they're not -1 to hit, so it's like, oof.
You still get 2-ups from cover against a lot of that.
Well, it's AP3, unlike...
What's the indirect with AP3?
Basilisks. I'm taking 2 basilisks today.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's
fair
it's
enough.
AP3 indirect. People don't get their +1 to save. It's like, oh, whoa. Just like that, huh? Yeah, it's actually kind of hurts.
Yeah, Guard can actually put out the guns. That's not their problem. GW keeps amping up their damage, which just makes them more and more polarized.
Yeah. And they did get a little bit tougher as well. So if you find yourself into a shooting army that's in a certain bracket, like hilariously, if you go first against Dadmech, your Lehman Russ start taking 3-up saves against Last Chickens, and it's like, oh,
what?
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, this is no longer the math that I wanted.
You can make the -1 damage. They put out a decent amount of firepower,
Yeah.
good AP, good damage. I mean, that's never been their problem. Their problem is as soon as this happens, as soon as you get touched in combat, your guns turn off.
Yeah, Guard's problem is that they have a couple of bad matchups, mainly of the 29-ish factions. I think they have bad matchups into like 13 of them. Like horrendously bad matchups, because those are armies that just go and touch them. And it's like, oh wow, I never saw this coming.
I think it's even higher because
Probably, yes.
a lot of those armies that don't directly do what Guard doesn't like, they don't try to get into combat. Even Tau will be like, so I scout moved my crew up, and I moved them forward, and then I charged the Guard gun line. I moved my crisis suits, and then I fire and faded them forward, and then I
charge after that.
They still can.
Wow, I hate that.
And then you charge the Guard gun line because I can fall back and shoot, and they can't, and they don't do damage in combat.
I've started packing multi-multi sponsons instead of plasma sponsons because I'm tired of my Rust getting touched, and I want to shoot something.
Yeah. So like even armies that don't rush you down in combat will just fall into combat with you anyway.
It's true. No, Guard have way too many bad matchups for me to currently take them to a singles event, although some Mad Lads have managed to pull it off. But I think Guard are a sleeper as a team event, because like I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, Knights don't want to play against Guard. I'm like, honestly, do Guard shoot hard enough to like coin flip into Tau? Probably not, because you can hide Tau, but like on a light terrain board, I could totally go first and kill Tau.
On like a light terrain board,
that's what I asked for.
Maybe,
yeah,
but like probably.
But like in team
not.
Format is the time to choose it.
Yeah, but still not.
Guard are, but like we gotta find some love for Guard here.
We don't gotta. But
I've got it, and I'm doing it. A lot of good shout outs in chat. Rampant to nothing. You guys were also awesome. That's someone from Team Texas Roll'em. One of our, I believe they won the Best Spirit Award at ATC.
Does not surprise me at all.
Earned it.
Yeah,
absolutely earned it. They were a pleasure to play against. All right, so obviously Imperial Guard. All right. Here's the next question for Mr. Law in the Discord. Looking at Chaos Space Marines, what can we expect for Space Marine 2.0?
So we have no idea.
Yeah, just caveat on that. We are not playtesters. We don't know. Anyways, people will still clip this out of context.
Yes.
What I'm expecting for Space Marines 2.0 is a White Scar specific chant that's called Appease the Dark Spirits of Chagoris, where I get to make one of my units trans hitman no rerolls.
Yeah, that sounds
legit. I think that's what I should get.
There's a Reddit post going up right now. Art of War confirms.
White Scar Chaplain's next.
God, what if that actually happens?
No, jokes aside, I'm guessing that conceptually, Space Marines are going to get more powerful stacking buffs, and I'm guessing that their warlord traits and relics of the next Space Marine book to come out, be it a generic codex, be it a supplement for Ultramarines, I'm guessing the warlord traits and relics are going to get cranked up to 75, like 175%. Which, like, they're kind of mediocre right now.
Yeah.
But the last couple of books have warlord traits and relics where you're just like, I would spend 8 CP and not even notice.
Yeah, CSM, the best part of the book, not the units, it's the characters and the warlord traits and the relics that go on them. And, maybe they'll do that with regular Space Marines, make you just some awesome characters in there. Mm-hmm. I hope that's what they do. I like Hero Hammer a lot. Yeah, it's like I also love Hero Hammer. Space Marines are a fun army to Hero Hammer with because they're so customizable usually, unless you want to jump pack on your sorcerer. And then there's oops. No, I would expect the same, which is that relics and warlord traits get cranked into up. I think damage output goes up a lot. I honestly doubt that they fix the defense problem for Space Marines. I don't see them doing it because they seem to have an ingrained cost in their mind of how much the generic Marine datasheets should cost, and then they kind of work off that. To be fair, what are they supposed to do about that, right? Yeah. Are they supposed to make them 3 wounds? No. Are they supposed to make them toughness 5, 2-up armor save? Like, there's a certain line where I think a Marine should be, and 2 wounds toughness 4 with a 3-up is there.
I think Marines should die to plasma guns, and that's really all I want to be a consistent point.
Yeah.
Is that Marines die to plasma guns.
It's they need to tone down the damage output in the game, which is what they did with Armor of Contempt. They're really like, hey, all of that, no.
Yeah, I mean, if they keep Armor of Contempt, add some more tricks, I mean, like, get them more modern 9th edition rules, like, it could work. And also the second they're like, I don't know, if you're within 6 of Guilliman, you can't reroll hits, it's like, oh, wow, this is suddenly a really tough army.
Yes.
Hopefully it's not that. 6 into no reroll hits.
I'm just waiting for Iron Hands to come back with the 5-up, 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 5-up. Like, you have a 5-up armor.
It was a 5-up, 5-up, 2-up, 5-up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's great.
I had fun with that.
I'm sure that you did, sir. I would have had fun too if I were on that list at that point.
Yeah.
No, it was a 5-up invul into a 5-up feel no pain, into a 2-up to bounce the wound, into a 5-up feel no pain, and it was just like, oh, where did my damage go? Mm-hmm. It is nowhere.
It is,
and that was an 8th edition damage output too.
Yeah,
that was bad.
Something else. I wonder if 9th edition armies could power through Leviathan.
No,
probably not.
I mean, maybe Triple Hammerhead could, just because it's like, here, take 30 wounds, make that stick. But like
my intercessors, oh no.
Like, I think maybe modern, like broken, like when they came out, Tau, or maybe 9 Void Weavers could do it. Just because 9 Void Weavers wouldn't die in return, ever.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah. I'd be interested in actually playing that game.
I would not be.
Donations! Pick the matchups!
Alright, so, Chaos Space Marines, so what it means for Space Marines. Yeah, I honestly expect that if we get a Space Marine 2.0 book by the end of the edition, I would honestly just guess that it looks like what we've seen for Chaos Space Marines. Like, I think it's going to have roughly the same problems, but roughly the same strengths. The main difference is going to be that Space Marines have a bunch of shooting data sheets, and so they will have one less problem than Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, CSM don't shoot. That is
CSM
real
CSM
problem.
Don't shoot, and that is, they've got 2 problems in my mind. One is that they don't shoot. 2 is that they're a little bit overcosted for their generic durability before you put buffs on.
Yeah, so you can't MSU at all, which is really what I want to do with the army.
Yep.
Is I want to just have units all over doing cool stuff by themselves, and you can't do that when they're all overcosted because you might put buffs on them, and then half the units that you want to put buffs on, you can't.
Exactly. Space Marines will be the exact same thing, but they'll have shooting, which means they have
have
half as many problems, and they'll have good dreadnoughts, not Hellbrutes.
Don't talk to me about Hellbrutes.
I love Hellbrutes.
Talk to me about super chats.
These super chats, thank you so much, Observer Rain. Hey guys, 2-part question. What is a good starting list or foundation for custodes in competitive play, and when will we see custodes on stream?
Interesting.
What a thing. So Observer on second half of that first. So unfortunately we pushed back custodes a couple times because we didn't have the models that we need.
We did not.
But the third Cladius that we desperately wanted has arrived and is on my paint table. So that means soon we will have custodes back on stream. As far as what is a good starting list or foundation, frankly, custodes have like 2 or 3 different archetypes.
Yeah.
It's mostly right now like picking a data sheet or 2 that you like and leaning into it. A lot of people seem to be favoring multiple Cladius, ourselves included.
I love Cladius. Best unit.
We're both on the Cladius train. So I think that Forge early units are still pretty important for custodes right now. But if you're just getting in, you're trying to stick to a codex or codex army, I would say that generic dreadnoughts somehow, and still like Custodes, Shield Guard, and the characters are still really strong foundations. I would just try to add some Cladius to that if I could.
We have a second half to the comment down below before we get up to Colt. Observer on 10 euros this time. Woo-hoo! A lot of Custodes players told me not to switch. If I want to play competitive, are they right to doubt the army? If not, what's the approach to be victorious with Custodes? So
I think they're wrong.
I think they are wrong. I think the army can still be good. You either want to spam out dreadnoughts, of which the Codex Dreadnought, really good, weirdly enough. Nobody noticed for like a year, but it's really good, or 6 months or however long.
Yeah, somehow.
Also, as John said, the characters, Trajan is still good enough to include. Bite Captain with all the buffs is still good enough to include. Some Spear or Shield Guard, still good. And then if you want to sprinkle in some Grav Tanks, you're going to get some good value out of that. So
love Grav Tanks.
Just a list that's like Trajan, Bite Captain, 3 units of troops, 3 Dreadnoughts, like 2 to 3 Caladius, and then fill in the points there with
with whatever tech you
whatever
like.
tech you like.
Because they've got plenty of good data sheets, between bikes and Vexel and everything else. There's lots of options.
Yeah, absolutely. That should do well for you.
All right, next super shout up. Thank you, Colt Hun. Thoughts on a Discolord with Flames of Spite and the Khorne Demon Weapon?
The Khorne Demon Weapon is D3 damage on his main weapon, plus additional.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was like, D3 damage. That's like everything.
So it's only 3 plus D3 into vehicles. Because he's plus, you take the Technovirus Injector to make his damage 2 into damage 3.
So he's damage D3 plus 3 into...
Yes.
Oh, that's nasty.
That is nasty.
Bop him with the good old Dark Lance real quick.
Yes, but the issue is I tend to prefer making him Slanesh and giving him the Intoxicating Elixir, so when your opponent tries to deal with him, they can't. Because you phase cap the damage. Now, if you're running something where you can't be Slanesh, like you're running World Eaters or something, that demon weapon does hit. It absolutely hits. But I think with Flames of Spite, you don't need to hit harder on that guy. Like, you don't. Yeah. He does hit super hard with that.
What is Flames of Spite, just for reference?
Oh, Flames of Spite, sorry, is reroll wounds, and 6s to wound in combat or shooting do mortal wounds.
I mean... Rerolling wounds, is it reroll wounds in combat?
Yes.
Okay, so reroll wounds in combat, 6s to wound to do mortal shooting or combat.
Yes.
That sounds kind of good.
You definitely take Flames of Spite on him. I'm not arguing that.
Woof.
No matter what you do, you take Flames of Spite on him. Because he has 1,000,000 attacks to reroll wounds with. The Khorne Demon Weapon, you can take any kind of upgrade. I don't think his damage needs to go up, because his damage is already insane. So... I would take something that makes him a little harder to deal with, a little more durable.
Yep. Nasty. Yeah.
All right.
That sounds terrible. All right.
Zlack Onion.
Zlack Onion. My favorite username, honestly. Yeah. Thank you so much for that super chat. Here's the real serious questions here. Should my Squats for Tots organization be a charity to give toddlers Leagues of Votann or a potato exchange service? Two good options, but there is a third.
I believe it is classed officially as child abuse to get people into 40K at a young age.
Yeah, it should be, certainly.
It should be.
It's basically a cult. However, I think that Squats for Tots should be encouraging toddlers to go to the gym more often. Never skip leg day, people. I'm actually really excited for Leagues of Votann, just since it's getting mentioned here.
Me too. I actually really am, yeah.
Yep. All right.
All right, let's get on to the next divisive question.
On to the next questions. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, this is interesting. So, what level do you think represents where most factions should be in power level? AKA, what faction do you think is this is where we should be?
I'm going to give you an example that would have gotten my head cut off about a year ago.
Are you about to say Drukhari?
Drukhari.
God. Okay, continue.
I think Drukhari's power level right now is like they're the bottom of A or top of B tier.
Yeah, it's probably.
I
mean, they're T tier, but they're continue.
T tier for Tantalus.
They're
in the middle of the pack. They have some problems in terms of damage output, but not a lot of problems in damage output. They're still very fast. They do what they want. They play their game.
Yep.
Right? But it's not so powerful that your opponent can't get in on the action. They can't play the game. It used to be they just press the I win button and they just table you. That was about a year ago. And they don't have to think about it. And they don't have to do anything. And then they felt like they were such a great player. And then they killed you. And there was nothing you could do about it. And it got making myself very mad. Yep. But now they get to still play the way that they want to play.
Yes.
But their opponent also gets to play the way they want to play.
Yeah, honestly, that's not a bad choice. So their secondaries are very takeable, but they're not oppressive.
Yeah.
Like, Herd the Prey is good, but they don't get a 15 on it turn 2. That's just not real.
Yeah.
Like, Yeah,
that should just not be a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. You should never ever have that. I'm trying to think of, like, a counterpoint. Honestly, I hate this. I think Drukhari was actually a good call. I'm trying to think of what else is Drukhari tier. I think Chaos Knights are another army that is right where it should be. Does not need any nerfs at all. Doesn't really need buffs either.
Yeah.
It's got multiple play styles. It has multiple like sub factions that are viable. You can use almost all of the data sheets in the book realistically.
Yeah.
And its secondaries are all takeable. None of them. One of them is a little too good.
Yeah.
But one good secondary is fine in every codex, I think.
Yeah.
You just don't want to have 2 or 3 or Necron.
Which is 4.
Yeah, 4 good secondaries. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
I also think Grey Knights are at a pretty good place, to be honest. Their damage output's a little low, but they do like decent damage in every phase.
Yeah, Grey Knights is probably another one in that camp of doesn't need a nerf, doesn't need a buff.
Yeah.
Basically, like, what I look at is what if I'm head drafting a balanced data slate, which I do literally all the time, as I complain about how, Necrons aren't a skill-based army.
Right.
Obviously.
I
It's like-
tabled 3 of them, and they still got a combined, like, differential of very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, really, really true.
It was very weird.
Yeah, I just like to look at, like, who doesn't need a nerf, who doesn't need a buff, like, who would I leave right where they are right now? The answer is not Gene Strickle, nor is it Chaos Demons. GW, take notes.
Oh, jeez, they really got no buffs or buffs.
No. Demons did get a buff.
They got a secondary.
Zrakniel went down 50 points.
Which one's that?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's the Forge World Greater Demon.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, it's like a Keeper of Secrets, but it's 18 wounds instead of 16, and it
so you
costs
can shoot
100 points more.
Now 50 points more.
Well, now 100 points more.
Oh.
All right, we got 2 more super chats. Thank you so much. Lyle Dixon, divisive question. What should be considered the iconic Marines melee army, White Scars or Blood Angels? Honestly, I could let Jack go first, but I'm going to go ahead and call it out here. That is a loaded question because neither of them are the iconic melee Marine chapter. It's Black Templars, and I will not hear otherwise.
Fair enough.
It's because everyone has their identities. White Scars aren't actually a melee chapter. Honestly, I don't think +1 damage makes a ton of sense for White Scars as a trait, if I'm being honest.
I was about
it's
to
not
say that.
actually how, like, it's how White Scars build right now, but it's not actually, like, what White Scars
They're
do.
like fast and they go everywhere and they're like really mobile.
They are really good on the charge, so I don't mind a charge bonus being part of their rules.
Yeah.
Because their whole thing is that they charge, leave, charge, leave, charge, leave, which is why they can fall back and charge and they get good on the charge. That's all cool. But I honestly think Black Templars are the iconic Marine melee chapter because everyone else likes chainswords. Black Templars chain the chainsword to their hands so that they are never without it.
They also chain the bolt guns to their
They also chain the bolt guns, but that's just so that they can drop it and take the two-handed chainsword, and then they get a flail built in on the hilt.
I can agree with that. It's just a shame that GW doesn't realize that slow melee armies just don't work.
Yeah.
They never have. Every time Black Templars comes out, it is, we are slow and we do combat decently. And it's like that. You need to be amazing at combat.
Yeah, if you're going to be slow combat, you need to be a little better than Death Guard.
You need to be like Death Guard, where if you build right, you just can't fight them, period.
Yeah, that would be ideal. So, yeah, but honestly, of the two, I mean, Blood Angels their whole thing is like pretty and deep strike, honestly.
They have a lot of deep strike in their lore. They are a lot more like vicious on the charge, so I would definitely say they're the more iconic Marine melee army. Whereas White Scars are very mobile with guns and charging and like.
Fully agreed. You are definitely more. You are definitely more so than White Scars.
Yeah,
not gonna disagree on that. Colt Han with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that support.
Thank you.
One more question. Any thoughts on the undefeated Guard GT list recently? Yes, 100%. I actually kind of like that list, and I took some inspiration from it when I was building the list that I'm playing later today in the Art of War room.
Oh, is it guns?
It is guns.
Oh, weird.
But it is different types of guns that I normally run. I unfortunately could not make all of it work. Frankly, the list has 3 Sentinels in the fast attack slot, and I have 3 Sentinels that are new on Spro. But because GW has already like previewed the Sentinel model, I just cannot make myself build and paint all the Sentinels at this point.
I agree.
If it was already painted, I would run it, but I'm not painting it now. So I'm waiting for that new Sentinel to come out before I invest the hobby hours there.
My favorite tech with Guard in 8th edition, back when you could be wrapped, was you take plasma cannon sentinels.
Oh, yeah.
And then whenever your opponent tries to, and you would screen out with them, and then when your opponent tries to charge them to wrap them, you would overwatch and overcharge your gun and just be like, do I roll a 1? Because if I do, you fail your charge, you're dead. This is going to go horribly for you.
Yeah, it was spooky scary.
It was very spooky scary. Anytime you declare a charge on those, it's like, do you lose the game? Find out, and oh, you do! Cool!
Just like that. Yeah, so I actually really like that undefeated Guard list. I'm definitely going to talk about it more in the Worm today while I'm playing that game. It is interesting because, we have a Guard Codex coming out so soon, but with the buffs, it's worth getting them on the table. So I'll kind of be talking about what parts of that list that I borrowed. Hint, hint, part of its basilisks. But I kept 1 Manticore in because he had 0 Manticores. So I'm like, I need 1 full payload Manticore.
You did full payload it?
I did 1 full payload Manticore, 2 basilisks.
Solid.
That's what I went for.
How many tank aces did you take on the... Oh, we'll find out.
We'll find out. It's only one.
Only one.
So it's one. It's full payload on a Manticore, and then this one was me. I paid a CP to give +1 AP on my battle cannon tank ace. So he has the relic battle cannon, and then I gave it +1 AP, so it's now 8-3-3.
That
feels 8-2-3 did not feel
Does
good,
nothing.
and I've tried it, and I wanted the long range gun every time, but I didn't like 8-2-3. 8-3-3 I think is worth it.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right,
what we got?
Going down the line, Dalton Peters with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. So, most Corn Demon Weapon fun. World Eater's Master of Executions with Corn Demon Weapon plus Hatred Incarnate equals Strength 9, 8 attacks on the charge, 2 plus D3 damage, hits on 2s, re-rolling, 2 mortal wounds on 6s.
So
that does slap.
That guy hits really hard. The thing I would say is I don't like increasing his damage because every 6 to hit just turns into 2 mortal wounds, and the extra damage you would be doing goes away. So I don't love that. What I'd really like for him is to take the Nurgle one. The Nurgle one ignores phase caps, ignores feel no pain, ignores all of that, and it auto wounds. So you just roll the hit rolls. You're like, take 4 mortal wounds. Depending on what tournament you're playing in, you may not get feel no pains or phase caps against that, and then also take some damage off this as well. Again, ignores feel no pains and phase caps.
Yikes.
Yeah. I like that one.
I like
Nick likes the undivided one that just does 1,000,000 mortal wounds when you hit them.
That sounds spooky.
Yeah,
I don't like mortal wounds.
It's pretty scary, yeah.
All right. Next up, another super chat from Christian. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. We really, really appreciate your support. So Christian asks, hey guys, how do you think White Scars deal with Chaos Space Marines? Also, what are the go-to HQs for them right now? So, regarding dealing with Chaos Space Marines, I should mention that in the Art of War War Room earlier this week, we did Know Thy Enemy Chaos Space Marines, where we did a generic 1-hour clinic with myself and Brad Chester, talking about exactly how to deal with Chaos Space Marines. But if you want a White Scar specific answer, we'll give it right now. So Chaos Space Marines hit really hard in combat, are sometimes very fast, but usually only in one direction. They don't redeploy. They just send something fast.
They don't go like really, really fast. It's like something that's slow can go like kind of quick.
And they don't have a ton of units, and they don't like losing units. So what you want to do as a White Scar player, I think, is try to take advantage of the fact that you have some mobile shooting. I actually genuinely want to try out an Impulsor and Hellblasters. Unironically, I want to try that.
You do want to lean into the shooting edge that you have.
Exactly. So fast units in a transport that can get out, shoot, kind of spread out the Chaos Space Marine army and pick out units one at a time, I think is what you want to do. You don't want to be declaring a ton of charges a turn. You don't want them to be declaring a ton of charges in the turn. You just want to have your one charge that you put all your buffs up. Having someone like Corsair or Khan as an HQ is literally always the right idea. I think you just try to pull them apart, use your mobile shooting advantage, and not turn it into just a big slog in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is where Grav Rhino can do real good work. You just stay at exactly the longest range. You pick up all their shooting, which usually isn't much.
Yep.
And then you just shoot them turn after turn after turn after turn after turn until they go away.
That's always my plan.
Yeah.
All right, we've got another super chat from Slack Onion. Tier list Tuesday. Thursday. Close enough. Rank the following in terms of power level: Flashkits, Doomstalkers, Dakabots, and Baneblades.
Are Dakabots the
I assume that's
robots?
the Castellan robots.
Okay.
I think the answer is... Oh, Doomstalkers are core now, aren't they?
No, they're not.
They're not vehicles?
They're monsters.
Wow.
And here's something I found out. At ATC.
Yep.
Right, I knew Doomstalkers were not core.
Yep.
The Resurrection Stalker guy, the Reanimator, is core, still a monster, but called out specifically as gaining core, not under the vehicle tag. So Doomstalkers are like the one thing in the book that got missed to gain core.
Oof.
Yeah, they blow.
Okay, so from 1 to 4. Number 1, Baneblades. I'm assuming this means Baneblade chassis.
Yeah, you can just select... No, you know what? He said Baneblade.
All right, fine. Still number 1, Baneblade. Number 2, Dakabots. Number 3, Flashkits. Number 4, Doomstalkers. Doomstalkers not getting core makes them worse. I'm sorry.
I cannot...
Flashkits... I keep thinking that they're good, and then I check the price tag, and I'm like, whoa!
Yeah, and also now that their freebooters got nerfed real hard, Flashkits...
I forgot they're freebooters.
Flashkits aren't necessarily freebooters.
God.
But
That's the only
Freebooters was
trait.
the only one to run them in.
Because, yeah.
And now they get reroll ones, a thing I believe they already had with Captain Badrek nearby.
Yeah.
And they don't get the +1 to hit, which means they're just hitting on 4s, I think? I think 4s.
Yeah, but they're like heavy weapons, but ballistic skill 4.
I think they're assault, but they're
Maybe.
3 shots,
Yep.
not at a great damage. This is not like going to table you if it hits you. Like, they're an okay shooting unit that just happens to hit on 4s instead of like 3s for some reason.
Yep. Next up. So, are you good with that ranking?
That ranking is totally fine.
Baneblades are awesome. We're going to talk about it in the super chat in a few minutes. Lyle, I see you. All right, next up down the line, Skadoosh Gaming. Thank you so much for the support and that $5 super chat. Where would a Dreadclaw / Decimator fall on the tier list? Looking for the best ideas for deep striking or Honor the Prince target. Any suggestions? I don't know about Dreadclaws.
Yeah.
But Decimators, I'm a little bit hyped on.
I like Decimators.
I like
a
Decimators in Black Legion, a not insignificant amount.
I like them actually in a lot of legions.
No.
I like them in Black Legion, and I like them particularly in Word Bearers because both of those get bonus that doesn't matter that it doesn't have core. +1 to hit in Black Legion, and reroll hits in Word Bearers, and the double Hellflamers.
Oh wow, I was going a different direction for that.
You take double claw. In my mind, you take double claw with double Hellflamer because each of the Hellflamers gets +2 hits.
The Hellflamer benefits from that?
It's a flame weapon. It is anything that is called. I looked it up. It's anything that's a flamer or a flame weapon gets it, and a Hellflamer.
That's
It is.
okay. Interesting.
So his weapons go from 2d6 strength 5 AP 1 damage 2 to 2d6 +4. And he's
That's not
also
bad.
pretty good in combat. And he's only 160,
That's not
and he
bad.
is 12 wounds with a 5-up. That goes to a 4-up if he's in range to Cursed Earth. And he does have Armor of Contempt, and he can get -1 damage for 1 CP.
Yeah,
That's
not
a
bad.
good chassis.
I was thinking of the Mortal Wound Soulburner petards, and then with Black Legion you hit on 2s against the closest target, so you just get to a bunch of 2-up Mortal Wounds.
That's pretty good. The main thing I don't like about that is you don't have any combat period. It's more expensive, and it's like 180 or something.
It is definitely more expensive. I just really liked that you get like +1 to hit, exploding 6s to hit.
It's pretty good.
And it's like, wow, I have 100% conversion on my Mortal Wounds at this point. It's like, this is stupid.
Yeah, no, it
Average.
is pretty good. I think you still have to.
You have to roll it 2
up.
You have to roll a 2-up on the wound, so it's not literally
Yeah,
100%, but it is danger close.
It's pretty good. I think both versions of the Decimators are
Yeah.
pretty good. I personally like the double claw.
So it
double
sounds
Hellflamer.
like we should magnetize them.
Yeah, we should get some for sure.
I have 3.
You what?
I have 3, yeah. It's from Iron Warriors Army.
You what, mate?
I just have 3.
Okay.
We'll get to that. I'll paint
All
them.
right, dope.
All right. Right down the line, Observer Ron with a little £2 super chat. Thank you so much. This one's for you. Why can't I book a list and call combo with Jack?
Aw, well,
Sad.
I really do appreciate the thought. Big heart for you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing those at the moment.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the reality of it was that just as a time perspective, the Art of War coaches found that we did not have personal lives anymore, so we had to cut out a little bit to make sure that we got all our work done while getting 8 hours of sleep a night. With that said, Observer on, if there's an army or something that you want to know, comment it right here, and if I can, I'll recommend a coach who would be the best one to help you.
Yep.
Or send us an email.
Yeah.
At contact@theartofwar40k.com, and we'd love to help you out with whatever questions you have. All right, right down the line, Lyle Dixon with a $5 super chat. Boom. How does GW fix Baneblades so that we can get these iconic gentlemen back on the table? More offense or more defense? I think the answer is more offense. Baneblades are stunningly tough for the if you aren't aware of what has happened to them recently.
They got a 2-up and they got Armor of Contempt, right?
So they basically have a 1-up armor save, no invuln.
But
But
1-up
one-up
armor
armor
save
save.
is, I mean, against Hammerheads that doesn't do anything.
No,
but
neither did the invuln.
neither. Right.
But with a measly spell, they gain +1 save. And with a different spell, they get -1 to hit. So you can have the Baneblade just rocking around at -1 to hit, 0-up save. Reasonable output. Not great output, but reasonable output.
Their output is bad for a unit their size.
Exactly. It is not costed to... Their output is not the same as another 400+ point unit.
It is hard to balance a unit that size because either it's your army and your entire army is time buyers and one unit that tables your opponent.
And Psychers to support.
And Psychers to support, i.e. Castellan in the in 8th edition, and nobody liked that.
Yeah, literally.
So balancing a shooting unit that is that expensive is just hard. It's just difficult because you have to make it so it's tough enough that if your opponent goes first, it doesn't just get picked up.
Yep.
And you have to make sure that it doesn't just table your opponent in like 1 or 2 turns while your entire army plays defense. And it's like, that's just hard to do. I think a little more offense is necessary, but you need to be careful that we don't reinvent the Castellan.
Yeah, we don't want that exact archetype back because that was not very fun to play with or against.
Well, I had fun.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. That's one. But I don't think Baneblades are actually that bad. I just really think that they need an offense buff. And I'm sure that will come with a new Guard Codex, just bringing all their unique weapons up to stats.
Yeah, up to par.
Because it's always weird when you have like Guard-specific weapons. Like you have Guard vehicles with a Guard-specific weapon and then some generic Imperium weapons. And like they updated the multi-meltas on the Leman Russ, but they didn't update the Vanquisher cannon. So I'm like, wow, my Vanquisher cannon, it is literally, the gun is this long.
I've seen it. It is impressive.
So much worse than a multi-melta.
Yeah, no,
it's like
super bad. I looked it up. I was impressed.
Yep. All right. Maori with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Thoughts on slipping a few Grot mega tanks with 6 or 7 rocket launchers into a Goth pressure list with Gaz, Zagstruck, Buzzgob. I honestly thought that was Legends. Warboss on bike and 3 Deft Rides as a way to add some range threat.
I think you do want to add some range threat into Goths because you have the dynamic of while 1,700 points of your army is rushing them down, they never have time to deal with these shooting units. So the shooting units just shoot over and over and over and over and over, even into shooting armies. So, and if they shoot at your shooting that's in the back, touching your home objective, shooting them, then the 1,700 points runs over them like they weren't even there. So I do like having some shooting. I prefer the planes, but Grot mega tanks with some rocket launches can really get the job done as well.
Yeah, that would be interesting. We should get a Grot mega tank.
We really should.
They're kind of cool.
I'm sure Mark has something he calls a Grot mega tank.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. All right. So, I think that's us for the day.
I think so.
So, thank you so much, everyone, for your support. As always, it is always a pleasure to have you all with us. Oh, someone's sneaking in. Kahuna's Tabletop with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that support, Kahuna. Don't know if you had a question to go along with it. If so, drop it right below. But either way, we really do appreciate your support. Anyways, as we close this one out, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. As always, Jack, thank you for joining me here on as the hot player in today's Hot Topics. Kahuna's Tabletop with a guard question sneaking in at the last minute. What would you like to see happen with Scions? I actually love conceptually how Scions work right now. What I would really like to see is more stratagems and more tricks for Scions. Because I like that Scions are the Special Forces guard and they should have more Special Forces type rules.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that Deep Strike 5-way instead of 9, I think that should just be a strat for all Scions, not one regiment. I think that they should have rapid insertion, cool rerolls against a selected target. They should honestly, Old Grudges stop being a guard trait and be a Scions roll.
Yeah.
You pick one target and the Scion detachment gets reroll wounds against it, regardless of their range, because they're on an assassination strike for this specific target.
Yeah, I think that they should. Guard plays like a defensive gun line, and I think that Scions should play like an aggressive gun line.
100%.
Yeah.
Guard are Kauyon, Scions are Montcalm.
And I always love the Montcalm playstyle of Tau. The Kauyon playstyle of Tau can go away.
Yeah.
Can go stick its head in the dirt or whatever. But running at my opponent, tabling them with fast guns, that's fun.
Running at someone and then shooting them with a 12-inch gun is just as good as close combat for me.
Yeah.
Just as good.
It's just fun.
So it is very fun. So I would love to see... I would absolutely love to see that happen. So hopefully when the Guard Codex comes out, honestly, I kind of hope Scions are like a Harlequin-esque.
That's what I was going to say, actually.
Army where frankly they have more data sheets than Harlequins. Sorry, it's true. It's not actually true, but it's dangerously close.
It's super
where
close,
you've got like 3 or 4 different sub factions. You can take Scions as a pure army, and if so, they get some certain special rules, or you take them as a patrol in a guard army, and then you still get all your guard rules.
Yeah.
I would love to see Scions be a mini codex like Harlequins inside. Hopefully they don't get 4-pin vulns across the board, but maybe a relic for 5-pin vuln.
No rerolls.
No rerolls. Absolutely not. They're special forces. You can't reroll hits.
Clearly.
Something along that lines, like rules-wise, I think it would be really interesting for guard.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't play guard, but I would totally play.
I would play guard.
You would. I know that.
Would.
I know that.
I
already.
have a guard army.
I would probably not play guard, but I would totally play Scions.
Fair enough. All right, thank you so much for watching, everyone. We're going to send you away with a commercial for the Art of War Room. So if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to check it out on our website or look right below where you can become a member of our YouTube channel. Thanks for the support, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There's so many rules in 40K, hundreds of events, and constant updates. Skip the learning curve of Warhammer and join the pros. Art of War is led by multiple world champions with decades of success. We teach clinics, stream games, and inspire you to succeed at your favorite hobby. Join our global community of gamers just like you.